Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking what is absolutely, without a doubt, the most ambitious, unprecedented, and, yeah, highly debated format in the entire history of international football. We're talking about the 2030 FIFA World Cup, a single tournament spanning 3 continents, 6 host nations, and a logistical puzzle so wild it's leaving fans and officials completely scratching their heads. But before we get to the massive global scope of the whole shebang, we've got to talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay, let's dive into this. 23.3 million. And no, that's not ticket sales. It's not television viewership either. That is over 23.3 million signatures from people across 170 different countries. According to the reports, this absolutely massive petition is demanding a lifetime ban for the Argentine national team, all following the intense fallout from the 2026 World Cup final.
So, you've got a team facing this intense, highly organized global backlash, right? Tens of millions of fans actively demanding they be stripped of their right to play. And yet, for the upcoming 2030 tournament, Argentina is completely untouchable. So how on earth is a team at the center of this much internet outrage somehow immune to these demands?
Section 1. The viral anti-Argentina petition.
To really understand this outrage, we have to look back at the catalyst. I'm talking about the 2026 World Cup final, where Spain defeated defending champions Argentina 1-0. Following that defeat, the Argentine players controversially turned their backs as Spain lifted the trophy. And as you can imagine, that immediately drew heavy criticism from fans and pundits all over. Tensions then totally boiled over into a chaotic post-match brawl right there on the pitch, where punches were reportedly thrown. The global reaction? Well, it was swift and severe. That 23 million signature petition gathered momentum in less than a single week. It was literally a perfect storm of on-pitch drama and internet virality.
Section 2. Why Argentina automatically qualifies. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we separate the internet outrage from the actual rigid rules of global football.
We can look to this headline from a fantastic explainer piece over at Londoner.news, specifically their article covering the Argentina FIFA 2030 tournament spot. They set the record straight right here. Argentina's place in the 2030 World Cup was locked in way back in 2024. Actually, let me emphasize that. This wasn't some reactionary move by FIFA to protect the team after the 2026 final. Not at all. It was an infrastructural decision made years before the drama even happened.
And it all comes down to this core concept: host qualification. Since the very beginning, FIFA has maintained a pretty rigid rule that any country hosting the World Cup automatically qualifies for the tournament. They completely bypass the grueling preliminary rounds. So, because Argentina was selected as one of the co-hosts for 2030, their ticket was automatically punched. That is exactly what makes them entirely immune to the petition's demands.
Section 3. A historic 3-continent tournament.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Why is Argentina hosting in the first place? Well, to celebrate the massive centenary milestone of the tournament, literally 100 years. FIFA split the event into 2 distinct phases. Step 1 features 3 opening celebration matches in South America, specifically down in Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay. Once those symbolic matches wrap up, Step 2 kicks in, and the main tournament continues across Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. All told, we're looking at a record-breaking 104 matches, featuring 48 teams spread out across a 44-day footprint. It is by far the longest and most geographically diverse World Cup in history.
And these specific South American countries? They definitely weren't chosen at random. Each one holds a really vital piece of 1930 history. Uruguay is hosting the very first match at the mythical Estadio de Centenario in Montevideo because, well, they were the inaugural hosts and the first ever winners. Argentina gets a match in direct recognition of being the runner-up in that 1930 final, and Paraguay rounds out the trio because it's the home of CONMEBOL, which was the only football confederation that even existed back when the tournament began.
Section 4. Navigating the global logistics.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer complexity of it all. Hosting a tournament across Europe, Africa, and South America brings unprecedented logistical hurdles. I mean, it's a giant puzzle. To combat severe player fatigue from navigating multiple time zones, the match schedule is being uniquely adopted. While regular teams playing in Europe and Africa will get about 5 to 6 days of travel and rest between games, the 6 teams involved in those South American centenary matches will be given roughly 11 to 12 days to travel, rest, adapt, and prepare before their second game. The preparation isn't just about scheduling now. It's all about infrastructure. $100 million. Let that sink in. That is the cost of a massive 3-year upgrade project currently underway at River Plate's Monumental Stadium down in Buenos Aires. They're adding a roof to the 85,000 capacity venue, which is already the largest in South America, by the way, just to ensure it meets the standard for their single, one-off opening match of the 2030 tournament.
Section 5. A potential UK bank holiday. Now, you might be wondering how all this global sports politics actually impacts you locally. So the crucial point is this. There are serious whispers of a potential new public bank holiday if England wins it all. But for that to happen, 2 massive conditions on the pitch have to be met. Condition 1, England absolutely has to beat Argentina. And condition 2, they would then have to go on and beat Spain. Only if those specific, highly anticipated matchups fall England's way and they actually lift the trophy does the conversation about a day off work become a reality.
But as local sources highlight, a sudden weekday celebration brings a massive logistical scramble for local London councils. Central London would see huge crowds, heavily impacting offices, shops, and public transport. Right now, Transport for London and the Met Police are kind of in a holding pattern, just waiting on official government decisions. There's also the whole bureaucratic headache of figuring out if this holiday would just cover England and Wales or if it would be a true UK-wide mandate.
Because these local impacts can change in a heartbeat, staying informed is absolutely key. To follow the exact mechanics of how this tournament might affect London's transport, policing, and local businesses, as well as keeping tabs on that potential bank holiday, I highly recommend heading over to londoner.news. It's an excellent resource for live updates on how this massive global event lands right on your doorstep.
Which brings us to the ultimate question at the heart of this explainer. We've got 104 matches, 48 teams, 23 million angry fans, a $100 million stadium roof, and teams flying from Buenos Aires to Madrid in the middle of a tournament. So I leave you with this. Is this 3-continent centenary World Cup a beautiful triumph of global unity, bringing the sport back to its roots, or is it a logistical step too far that risks breaking the very teams playing in it? Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you in the next explainer.